Scene script. Have you ever pondered why change, something so constant and inevitable, often sparks fear in us? Change. It's a simple six-letter word that holds an enormous amount of power. It's a force that, like the wind, sweeps through our lives, altering the landscape of our routines, our comfort zones, and our expectations. It's a concept as old as time itself, yet it retains its potency, its ability to unsettle and challenge us. Change is one of the few certainties in life, a constant companion on our journey. It's in the seasons shifting from winter to spring, in the transition from youth to adulthood, and in the evolution of ideas and technology. It's in the rise and fall of empires, the ebb and flow of economies, and the transformation of societies. Yet, despite its pervasive presence, change often scares us. It's like standing at the edge of a cliff, looking down into an abyss of uncertainty. It's the fear of the unknown, the unforeseen outcomes that could follow. It's the worry that we won't be able to adapt, to fit into this new world that change is crafting. But isn't it peculiar, this paradox of change, that something so integral, so inherent to life can also be a source of such apprehension? Change is inevitable. It's the law of life. Yet we humans, creatures of habit that we are, often resist it. We cling to the familiar, the comfortable, the known. We prefer the devil we know to the devil we don't. Fear, you see, is a natural response to anything unknown. It's our brain's way of protecting us, of keeping us safe from potential harm. But sometimes this fear can hold us back. It can prevent us from embracing the new, the different, the transformative. But what if we told you that this fear, this apprehension, could be harnessed and transformed into opportunity? What if we told you that change, with all its uncertainty and unpredictability, could be the key to unlocking doors you never even knew existed? What if we told you that the power of change is in your hands? The first step to transforming fear into opportunity is embracing change. But how do we do that? Well, to start with, it's essential to recognize that change is an inevitable and necessary part of our growth, both personally and professionally. Like the changing seasons, it's a natural part of life. We may not always have control over the changes that come our way, but we can choose how we react to them. Embracing change begins with acknowledging its presence. It's about understanding that change is not just about the end of something, but also the beginning of something new. It's about seeing change not as a threat, but as an opportunity for growth, for learning, and for new experiences. A key method to embracing change is practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness is about being fully present in the moment, aware of where we are and what we're doing. It's about observing our thoughts and feelings without judgment. When we practice mindfulness, we can better understand our reactions to change and learn to respond in a more balanced and constructive way. Acceptance is another important part of embracing change. Acceptance doesn't mean we have to like the change or agree with it. It simply means acknowledging the reality of the situation and making peace with it. When we accept change, we free ourselves from the burden of resistance and open ourselves up to new possibilities. Flexibility, too, is crucial in embracing change. It's about being open to new ideas, adaptable in our approach, and willing to step out of our comfort zone. When we are flexible, we are better able to navigate the twists and turns that come with change and turn them into opportunities for growth. Remember, change is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. It's a chance to learn, to grow, and to evolve. It's a chance to become a better version of ourselves. Once we learn to embrace change, we can begin to see the opportunities it presents. Fear is not always a bad thing. It can actually be a powerful motivator if used correctly. Now, that might seem counterintuitive. The instinctual response to fear is to retreat, to seek safety. But what if we told you that fear can be your greatest ally on your journey to success? Let's break it down. Fear, in its most basic form, is a response to perceived danger. It's a survival instinct. But the key word here is perceived. Often what we fear isn't a tangible threat, but rather the unknown, the uncertain. And it's this fear of the unknown which can be harnessed to our advantage. So how can we utilize fear as a catalyst for growth? It begins by understanding that fear, while uncomfortable, is a sign that we're pushing beyond our comfort zones. It's a signal that we're challenging ourselves, that we're venturing into unfamiliar territory. And this is where growth happens. Fear forces us to confront the reality that we could fail. But it's in this confrontation with potential failure that we find the opportunity for success. Because fear, when acknowledged and understood, can drive us to prepare, to learn, to adapt, to do everything in our power to overcome the challenges ahead. Think of it as a kind of mental workout. Just as physical exercise strengthens our bodies, fear can strengthen our minds, building resilience and resourcefulness, sharpening our focus, and intensifying our determination to succeed. And yes, taking risks can be scary. But remember, every successful entrepreneur, every groundbreaking innovator, every world-changing leader has faced fear. They've all stood at the edge of the unknown and taken that leap of faith. And it's in that leap, in that moment of fear-fueled action, that extraordinary things happen. So the next time you feel fear creeping in, don't retreat. Embrace it. Use it as fuel to push further, to strive harder, to reach higher. Because fear, when harnessed correctly, can drive us towards unparalleled success. Now that we've learned to embrace change and harness our fears, how do we transform this into opportunity? To turn fear into opportunity, the first step is a shift in perspective. Fear is not an enemy. It's a signal, an alert system that draws our attention to areas where there's room for growth. When we feel fear, it's often because we're stepping out of our comfort zones and into the unknown. It's a sign that we're pushing our boundaries, challenging ourselves, and that's where growth happens. So instead of shying away from fear, let's try to understand what it's signaling. Next, we need to embrace calculated risks. When we're afraid, our natural instinct is to seek safety, to avoid risk. But risk and opportunity often go hand in hand. Think of the great inventors, entrepreneurs, and explorers of our time. Their journeys were filled with uncertainty and risk, but they took that leap of faith anyway. They understood that in order to achieve great things, you have to be willing to take risks. It's important, however, to ensure these are calculated risks. Weigh the potential outcomes, understand the possible setbacks, and make informed decisions. Lastly, we must find learning opportunities in our challenges. When we face a hurdle, it's easy to see it as a roadblock. But every challenge we face is a chance to learn something new, to become stronger, to improve. The more we face our fears and overcome challenges, the more resilient we become. Each fear conquered is a lesson learned, a new skill gained, a step closer to our goals. That's the beauty of fear. It's not just an emotion, it's a catalyst. It propels us forward, pushing us to grow, to evolve, to become the best versions of ourselves. When we view fear not as a barrier, but as a stepping stone, we open up a world of opportunities. So, what have we learned from our journey of embracing change and transforming fear into opportunity? We've learned that change, while often daunting, is a powerful catalyst for personal and professional growth. It's an inevitable part of life. And when we resist it, we resist the opportunity to evolve, to learn, to grow. But when we embrace it, we open up a world of possibilities. We become more resilient, more flexible, and more capable of navigating the unpredictable currents of life. We've also discovered that fear, though often perceived as a negative emotion, can be a powerful motivator. It can push us out of our comfort zones, compel us to take on new challenges, and drive us to achieve more than we ever thought possible. Fear, in essence, is not the enemy. It's the fuel that can propel us towards our goals if we choose to harness its energy. But how do we turn our fear into opportunity? We've learned that it starts with a shift in perspective. Instead of seeing fear as a roadblock, we can choose to see it as a stepping stone. Each fear we overcome propels us forward, closer to our goals. It's about turning the unknown into the known, the unfamiliar into the familiar. It's about using fear as a springboard to leap into the vast ocean of opportunity that lies ahead. In this journey, we've also come to understand that every change brings with it a new set of challenges and opportunities. The key is to recognize them, to seize them, and to use them as stepping stones on our path to success. So, as we conclude this discussion, let's remind ourselves of the power that lies within us. The power to embrace change, to transform our fears into opportunities, and to use these opportunities as stepping stones towards our goals. Remember, change is inevitable, but fear is optional. Choose to see the opportunities that lie within every change and let your fear fuel your journey to success.